I don't know if I'm saying this little girl's name right because I just suck at names. Sophia Heger. Her acting as a little girl blew me out of the water, especially the last scene about Just Dance. You're thinking Just Dance, the video game? Yes, that scene was. Whew. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing She Rides Shotgun. So it's about a pretty simple premise. Taron Egerton, he shows up at his daughter's school saying, you know what, get in the car, we gotta go somewhere. Did he kill his ex-wife and her boyfriend slash husband, or is he being framed because something he did in prison or out of prison? Basically, someone's trying to help him in prison, but he killed someone that's part of this blue lightning bolt gang, if you want to put it that way, and now he's on the run. However, there's also a cop. I think it's Mr. or Detective Park, if not mistaken. Yes, John Park. And is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Or is he going to blackmail this whole situation because he wants this meth shenanigans in New Mexico to go down? So I noticed it was in New Mexico, Breaking Bad. I had uncles who were also cops in Albuquerque. It is a lot of meth in New Mexico. A lot of meth. So having that background and knowing where this movie is taking place, you're like, yeah, I know that this is there. But as a movie-going experience, I think it does its job right. However, there were a decent amount of times where I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Silly character choices. And you're just like, okay, so when the credits roll, you're like, I enjoyed the experience, but I was also like mad at the experience at the same time just because of what I was experiencing on screen. So like I said, the positives, the acting across the board is fantastic with Taron Egerton, Sophia Heger, John Carroll Lynch, Rob Yang. Those are the main four actors that you really need to pay attention to, even though John Carroll Lynch is very, very little bit in this movie. So it's usually a 3-actor, set piece. But the Jonathan Bark detective, he's easily third base, if you want to put it that way. But it's a father-daughter story about going to point A to point B to try to stay alive. And I think the grittiness of this thriller does work. And some of the reviews are saying, oh, it turns to a bloody mess. This movie's not that bloody. It would be rated R for violence and language, and that is it. For backstabbing, for thrills, it's rated R for backstabbing. Just FYI for that. So like I said, positives, the landscape, the acting through and throughout. But what really kind of bothered me was a little bit of the character decisions and maybe the wrong way. So, for example, there was a robbery scene. I feel like the civilian that has the gun, at a point, if the person isn't shooting at you and you see a girl in that facility in a gas pump, you don't shoot that direction. You make sure the person's out of the store, not robbing it. Then you go inside, you call 911. You can't really shoot someone running away ever. So there are little things like that where it's like if someone has a concealed permit or a concealed carry, they would know a little bit better. So little things like that where you just kind of like, okay, whatever. Also, something at the very end with some of the gunplay with the cops, the state patrols, state troopers, and things like that. It was some bad, tactics. Let's put it that way, of like going in, guns blazing, like it's the Patriot with Mel Gibson, of like, we don't care, there's no cover, but we are going to go a million miles a second. You're just like, I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, because a lot of you are going to get shot and a lot of people get shot. You're just like, what are we doing? Like, at a point, it's like you use the cars for cover. You slowly roll the cars to them. You don't just run guns blazing. You're knowing, shit, the next cover is like a barrel, like 50 yards ahead. I'm just going to wing it. No! It's just silly things like that where you're just like, oh, and when someone gets on the ground and they're just like guns blazing, you're just like, yo, there's a cop literally right in front of you. You just shot him. You shot a cop. What are you doing? Like, it's like, oh my God, some stupidness on that levels. I'd say there's about 8 to 10 people in this movie theater. I wouldn't say a lot of them were entertained because one guy in front of me is like, this is getting boring. And I could see it because it does get some time to get the father-daughter relationship going, then going from house to house to house to actually, get the movie going about the robbery, bad cops, and things like that. There is a one fantastic, tense moment about, I'll just say it's in a church that's a trucker church. What happens outside the trucker church is pretty damn good overall. Like I said, the look, the aesthetic, the acting of this movie is fantastic. I guess it's written pretty well because it's based off a book. So I don't know how the book plays out compared to the movie. Guilty as charged. I don't know that. And it is a very interesting aspect of, like, there is things in this movie about the cartel versus, white meth heads and what they're going to do in that scenario. And at a point, yeah, it's like a drug war. It's a huge drug war down south, and I think a lot of people don't realize that with the fentanyl, meth, crack. Hunter Biden probably knows about that, but let's not know it. I mean, he's the one that's saying how to make it, so I'll just put my hands up. You see what I'm saying there? Anyway, so overall, She Rides Shotgun is on the shoulders of this father-daughter relationship, and it works majority of the time. And like I said, there's a scene at the very end of the movie about this girl dancing and, like, trying to hold tears. You're just like, oh my god, this is grade A tier acting. This needs to be throughout this whole movie because, like I said, this would be a fantastic movie if there weren't just, like, silly moments in this movie that you're just like, that doesn't make sense. That's that bad character choice. Even though some of the choices in this movie, like, that's a good character choice. It's like, if you're going to make good character choices throughout the movie, don't make it automatically stupid at the end of the film. I'm just like, what are we trying to do at the end of the film? But I think the movie, like I said, does what it needs to do. Thrills, has some good action set pieces. Yes. Does it drag in the second act? Yes. But the third act, that ending, does that ending? I'm going back to that ending. So She Rides Shotgun will receive a 3.5 out of 5 of Futon. So it goes at 70%. Let's see the critics' news scores it gave this one. And we have a gritty thriller grounded in powerful emotional stakes. I love that word, grounded. She Rides Shotgun is harrowing. Sure. But and led by Taron Egerton and Sophia Heger's superb performances. And you have to agree with those performances. And yeah, there we go. So we got the 70-84. Chase Like here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One of these Futontopia. You move Tony's. Oh, great day. I hope everyone to stay tomorrow, a week from a month, year from now. I was going to freak peace and love. Peace and love. That is just straight up disrespect to you guys.